In this session, we're going to use HTML5 and CSS3 to develop a web page. We'll be using our HTML5 to declare the different sections within our web page, and then use our CSS3 to stylize those. The areas that we're going to be using, if you look at our DOM, we'll be having a container section that will hold everything about our page. We'll have a header, a nav section. So this is our header and nav section. We'll then have articles, and within inside the articles we'll have two sections. We'll also have an aside, which will be on our right side, and at the bottom of our document we'll also have a footer. So let's get underway and have a look at the code, and also how we can use CSS to stylize these. So one of the first things we need to do is create a container for our whole page. So rather than having the elements just floating around on a unstructured page, it's a good idea to create a container. To do that, we're going to declare this as a div tag, because there's currently nothing in HTML5 that allows us to do it. So we'll go div ID equals, and you can either use wrapper or you can actually use container. I like to use container, and then we could actually close that div tag off. So in our split view, we can actually see there's a container here, and everything's going to sit inside that container, which makes it easy to control. Now, one of the very first ones we've got to create is the head, and then we can actually close the header part. The next one we need underneath the head is the navigation. So once again, HTML5 knows that that exists. We then can create our articles. Now the article is like the main body of your web page. And within inside our main body of our web page, we're going to actually have two subsections. So we're going to have section 1, and these sections will sit inside the article. And then we'll close off the article tag and move that to the back. And then once we've created the article, we're going to have a panel sitting on the right hand side of our page, which allows us to put information in. So we'll have the article sitting in the middle of the page, and on the right hand side, third of the page. So the article will take up 2/3, and the right hand side of the page will actually have another panel in there. We can have some different information. And to put that panel over there, we need to declare that separately, and we'll actually call this aside. And Dreamweaver and HTML5 know about this. So that in this section here, it will sit on the right hand side of the article, which will be sitting on the left hand side. And right at the bottom of our page, we actually want to put a footer in. And hence I'll use the footer command rather than using another div ID called footer. So these HTML5 commands have replaced all the IDs we used to use in HTML4. So let's go put some information in here. So first of all, in our header, we'll put in a title, H1. So Mr. Marston's amazing web page. Then we're going to have some navigation in there. So we'll actually have some links. So let's go down to our article. And what we can do in our article here, we can actually start with, say, a heading. And then within our sections, we can actually give it some new information. So we might use a slightly smaller heading, maybe H2 or H3. I'll start with the H2 and then we'll have a look at it. We might adjust it from there. And we can put this is a subpart of article. And then also in here we can actually put some information. So we put a paragraph and go, this is information that is a subpart. And then we can close the paragraph tag off again. Okay, so we need to close that as well. So this section here runs down to here. It'll have a title and also some information. Let's go have a quick look at this. So if we go back into split view, click over here. So we've got some information here. We've also got the close head. That's okay. So rather than head, because head will clash up there, sorry, it should be header. There we go. It should remove that little yellow error that we had. You see, so we've got the header at the top, then we have our nav section, Then we've got our welcome, we've got our first subpart. What we'll do now is we'll copy this section down and we'll place this section tag here. We'll have two of them. So this is part of article, and I'll put a 1 there, and this is part of article, and we can put 2 there. And so you can see this section 1, section 2. As we go through, you can see in our DOM, there's the header. Then we've got our nav. We then have this container here, which is the entire article. And you notice that article, or the subparts of these, section 1 and section 2 are both highlighted. But when we look at section 1, you can see that it's its own area, section 2, its own area. So then we just need something in the aside. This will be on the right. And so that'll actually appear on the right hand side of this information here. And so this will take up 66% of the screen, and the right hand one will take up the other 33% for us. And then we can go in the footer, and we can put down here www. I'll just put this as the footer. So now what we have is the basic structure of our website. If we go back and look at our code view, you can actually see that everything resides inside a div tag. Then we have the header for our title. Then we have the nav section. We have the article where everything's going to be placed within the article. So that's the main body of our page. Then we've got a side. This will appear on the page eventually on the right hand side of the article. Then we have a footer at the bottom. We close off the div tag, and now we're ready to go create a CSS to stylize this.